welcome back to part two of the interview with Jeff Benavides. Jeff is a leader in the field of energy and sustainability and has an unbelievable background. And he is also currently leading portfolios and performance at scale across US GBC, ARC, and GBCI. Jeff, welcome back. Jeff, with the rollout of initiatives like the Inflation Reduction Act and benefits and incentives along that line, has that been beneficial to the initiatives that you're undertaking?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we get that question all the time. Our policy team, advocacy and policy team is well organized now and fully focused on tracking all of these changes at the US federal level. But now we're looking to, well, how do we, since we already have this like inventory of different markets and municipalities across the country that already have something in place, how can we use that data as well as that information to layer in these incentives and these programs that are now available in order for another municipality to accelerate adoption of a said program or a policy and utilize those incentives that are now available for that to then connect the dots, as well as making some of the ones that are already in existence even better.
Similar to the local incentives, you and I have seen local ordinances and state guidance which are designed to reduce energy and water use, decarbonize buildings. And the one that comes to mind is the City of Orlando's Building Energy and Water Efficiency Strategy. Do you curate and keep those in the library as well? And do those tie in with the portfolios that you're working with?
So yes, we do keep those in the policy library. So any type of voluntary incentive programs, mandatory incentive programs, as well as voluntary reporting programs like a BWES, like you mentioned, would be in that policy library. And to answer the question is how that relates is that most of the customers that we work with in the US that are big property owners or developers have properties in jurisdictions that have a building performance standard or that are working towards a building performance standard. And that's where our work really intersects, not only for the private sector side, but for the customers that we work with and communities that we work with on the local government side. So we have a couple of tools available at disposal if customers are in the platform already. We actually have over 30 different benchmarking and performance standards and benchmarking, building performance standards and benchmarking policies already loaded into ARC. So this way, as a portfolio owner, I can see, okay, which of my properties are within those jurisdictions, and am I currently, based on the data that I have, am I currently complying with their threshold?
We both attended the North Carolina State Energy Conference in Raleigh in late April, and I was absolutely amazed to see an attendance of over 800 people and speakers from major corporations like Microsoft, Google, Siemens, all explaining the reasons they're expanding in North Carolina. And then the governor of North Carolina explaining the North Carolina Energy Program is at the forefront of growing the state's economy. You travel a great deal and have a tremendous network. Do you see other state economies that are benefiting from having a clean energy program?
So absolutely, there's other countries and states that are benefiting from having this robust clean energy program. You can see, even I was reading something in the state of Georgia recently that has, incredibly overcome their amount of electric vehicle investments from an economic development standpoint, which has been huge. So Virginia is too, and South Carolina. As well as, so I would say like the Southeast definitely.
Jeff, this has been wonderful visiting with you today. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you'd like to add in conclusion?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things, just kind of for the listeners and network that you're building here, Bill, is there's a lot of things happening in this space. It's hard to keep up. And I think the most important thing that we can do with one another is, during the pandemic in this virtual world, we kind of got into our own corners and our own like spheres. So I really encourage you to focus on collaboration and trying to get out there into other markets and other groups, to really be the voice for this mission that we're on here, and the purpose of this podcast here. I've kind of made a commitment to myself not to go to those same presentations or panels that everyone's just drinking the Kool-Aid. I'd rather go to the other conferences that I'm the only one in this field. And that's very vulnerable, but it requires that level of dedication and collaboration in order to meet our goals. Because if we keep, one thing, it is peer learning, supporting each other, but we have to put ourselves out there and spread this message, and also spread these action driven tools that we have as a collective industry, to move these other markets forward. I request that all your listeners really listen to each other that are in this field, empathize with each other, and try to figure out ways that we can help each other better and be more intentional with that. And lastly, for kind of like the new folks that are entering this field for the first time, they feel that they just started their career, or that they're just wanting to enter this career. I speak to a lot of emerging professionals that ask me like, hey, how did you get into this work? And that's a long story, but right now is like their opportunity. Like there's been so many opportunities. There's over 75,000 energy and sustainability related jobs on LinkedIn today alone in the US, and that's overwhelming. But my guidance to the folks like you, Bill, or myself that have been in this for a long time is that there's a lot of new workforce coming in. They need patience and guidance. They want to do these things. They want to mobilize. They want to work in these industries. And we need to guide them and provide the patience that they need and coaching that they need in order for them to be successful, and try to save the learning curve, because frankly, we don't have the time to train and start from scratch. We have to accelerate this work. And that happens with empathizing and patience, and really coaching and helping each other.
And this coming from what I consider one of the best thinkers in this area of energy, sustainability, and resiliency. Thank you, Jeff. That's wonderful.